You're gonna get them to say yes there. They're like, yeah, for sure. Now here's how you get them on the phone. It's just illogical fear. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. You're gonna get a nutrition plan. You're gonna get this, you're gonna get this. No one buys that, they don't care. All you gotta do to hit 10,000 a month. And I was doing $50,000 a month, so you can hit 10,000 a month, and then from there you scale up your company. But trainers are like, I don't wanna say that. I'm like, okay, well then say poor.
My name is Ashley Lisa, and I have this business, Allure. Right before the pandemic hit, I just was not happy in my life and what I was doing. It was just the same thing, Groundhog's Day over and over again. And I am into fitness. I would always work out, and I had other gyms say, like, do you want to teach and coach? And that, I mean, was my passion, but I just couldn't find the time for it, and I put a lot into work. I was blessed that I had the opportunity to like come, take a step back, figure out my priorities and what really mattered in life. Started my business, started training clients. I left the corporate world for a little bit, and then kind of ran out of funds, so I had to get back into that. And now I'm just in a really great place, and I know this is where I'm supposed to be, and I'm taking everything into my business. Hi. I'm good.
Where did you come from?
I'm from New Jersey.
Oh man, they did the whole East Coast, I think. How's it going?
That's good. How are you?
Thanks so much for coming so far.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Come here.
Okay, hi.
Good, nice to meet you. When did you get here?
A little bit ago.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm so
in
excited.
and out,
First time in Miami.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Are you gonna be here for a bit?
A little bit.
You should.
Yes.
4 clients?
Yes.
400 a month, okay. And then are you doing, I'm assuming you also, are you doing a job in the world? Do you have a job right now?
Yes, I went back as a senior accountant, but as of last Thursday, they let me go. So this is going to be my full-time job.
So we gotta make this work.
This is definitely working. I'm not going back.
Okay. So what have you done so far? So you're doing 100 bucks a month, super cheap, 4 clients. You're a senior accountant now. You're basically, that's out. We got to do this full time.
Full time.
So what else do you got?
These are low, like they're like friends and stuff. I don't know how to, and like where to get high tickets and how to go about it and what to say. Like,
So like, is it literally just like bare bones beginning? We're right at the beginning. Okay,
I mean, there's some stuff, like I've watched a lot of your videos, so I know some things, but I think, and I also like.
Have you done anything yet though? Like, is it like, so have you ever reached out to anyone? Have you ever done a sales call, like anything like that?
I've done a couple sales calls where I'll ask them what they're trying to get after and see what their goals are, and then use that later, but I'm not really great at money.
The bad news, I mean, is like, obviously you're in a tight spot, you've got to make work, but the good news is you haven't learned any bad habits.
Yes, I'm open. Okay. I'm so open, and I know there's a lot I need to learn.
So the first thing is like, let's talk about the strategy, and then let's try to tie in your pillars. Let's start there. Okay, so the first thing you need to understand is like high ticket, right? It's going to be anything that's $1,500 plus. Okay, so we don't want this because this isn't going to get you out of your situation. So what would you say you need to make per month to be comfortable, where you're like, hey, I'm good, full time?
I would like 10,000.
Okay, 10,000 a month. Okay. The only way you really hit this is if you have a big IG or you got a lot of cash. Okay, so based on what you're telling me, I'm assuming neither of those are in place. Okay, so to get there, what we have to do instead is we have to get this. What this allows us to do is allows us to get 6 clients. If you start breaking that math down, you're basically doing 1 a week, like a little more than 1 a week, right? So it's like what, 1.5, something like that. That's way more doable.
Yeah.
Because it's just like 106, 106. Okay. The first thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to do outreach. So this is the hardest part of the business because it's uncomfortable and you're going to have to talk to people. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing outreach typically on Instagram or Facebook. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, the first thing to understand is we have to know our numbers and our metrics, because the reason people get overwhelmed or anxious is they don't know what to do. They don't know what to expect. If you know what to expect, it's a lot easier to go into business. So what I want you to focus on is, if you're doing this full time, then we're going to try to do 100 messages a day. Okay? Okay. That's about 20 per hour. Now, do you know why it's only 20 per hour? If you don't know, it's okay, but why would I only send 20 messages an hour? Do you know?
No.
You get blocked. So 20 messages per hour. So that's going to take you about 5 hours a day. Okay? Now, the reason I'm telling you this is I want you to understand like what you need to do. This is literally how I got out of my situation. This is literally the guy who's here right before you. Okay? So what you're going to look for is you're going to send 100 messages. You're looking for 30 responses. Okay? So what that means is you send 100 messages to women, you get 30 of them to respond. That's the average. That's what we're hoping for. That's give or take what's going to happen. So all of a sudden, you go from 0 prospects to 30. Okay? So out of those people, you're going to do 6 set calls. Now, you know what a set call is?
No.
Okay, set call is literally how it sounds. It's a set. So You have sales calls and you have set calls. A set call is a call prior. So what it is like, let's say you got on the phone, it's like, hey, so I saw you input your information for RB sandwiches. Yeah, you're like, yeah, like cool. So I'm just calling to get a little more information, you know, what you need, what you have for the catering, whatever it is. That's just a random example. A set call is, because I want you to see examples as the one I want to walk you through, but a set call, what that is just prepping it for the sales call, okay? And I'll walk you through that later. Then on the set calls, what we're hoping for is we close 1 or 2 on a sales call, okay? So let's do the math. If you do 100 messages a day, you get 30 to respond. You do 6 set calls, and you close, let's just say 1, because I want to be conservative, because I don't like over-promising. You get 1 sales call. You do that 6 days a week. Hypothetically, that's going to be your 6 sales in a month, okay?
Okay.
The more skill you have, the less volume you have to do. Does that make sense? So I'm going to assume, let's just assume you're terrible at everything for now. You suck at everything. And so you might have to do more volume, but give or take, this is what you're looking for. Why is that important? Because if you send 100 messages and you get 30 response and you get 0 set calls, what does that mean? You suck at this part.
Right.
Right? If you get set calls, but you don't close anyone, what does that mean? You suck at sales.
Right.
You need to know the numbers that you're expecting. That's why it's so nice to have someone who's experienced, because then you know the numbers you need and then you'll be successful. If you can do that, hypothetically, if you could do 100 messages a day, you might hit that goal in a week. This is not that crazy of a goal. I know it seems right now it is, but it's like, that's not a crazy goal if you just look at this 6, that's it. What we're gonna do next is, because you've never done it, what I wanna do is I wanna go through the script of what you're gonna say, okay? Because here's the thing. You have to sell, but they can't know you're selling. If like you're gonna go out to Miami, okay? And let's say a guy approaches you, okay? It's not gonna go very well for the guy if he says, hey, like I'm really hoping to take you home tonight with me. It's gonna go a lot better if he's like, hey, what's your name? You're like, it's Ashley. It's like, oh, cool. Like, what do you do for work? Like he's getting to the same goal, but you don't necessarily know that's his initiative, right? So it's just like the same thing with sales. If they think you're trying to sell them right away, they're gonna be like, yo, what the fuck? Like, stop. So here's what I want you to do. When you start outreaching, first thing you're gonna do, and you're gonna start outreaching via either hashtags, okay, or Facebook groups. With IG, there's millions and millions of people on hashtags. So what do I mean by a hashtag? If you're gonna work with women, I'm gonna make you work with women. Don't work with men because they're gonna try to hit on you. It's not worth it. So women. So the hashtag, like let me go through some hashtags. Do you have your phone on you? Look up fitness, and then when you get them, show me your phone. I'll make sure you're looking at it. Fitspo, and I just want you to look those up first, and I want you to tell me what results you see. So look up Fit Mom. Tell me how many millions of results you see.
29 million.
29 million. Okay, so that literally means there's 29 million people on there. There's no way in hell that all those people have been messaged. I promise you, there's no way. No one's, like, not every single person there has gotten a DM from someone, okay? So they're less likely. Facebook groups, if you go to a Facebook group, what that could look like is it could be like, I don't know, fitness moms, right? Like, so let's say on Facebook, there's like a group called fitness moms, or it's like weight loss, whatever. You can also do this in those groups, but the downside is like, if you're in there and you start messaging them, they might be like, well, why are you messaging me? With this, if I had a gun to my head and I had to choose IG hashtags or Facebook groups, that's what I would DM off of.
Hashtag Fit Moms, that means 29 million people follow.
That means, no, that means there's 29 million posts with that tag.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what you would do is you're gonna scroll until you see someone overweight. So why? Because ultimately if someone is overweight, they may not think they need help, but they're obviously a candidate for training, right? Like you're not gonna message, like I wouldn't message a super fit girl to do it. This might be a perfect person. So to me, she's like, okay, she might be a candidate, she's trying to lose weight, etc. And then you're gonna reach out to this person, okay? So you come here, and I'm gonna show you a video in a second, but you'd reach out and you start the conversation, and then you just repeat that literally till you get 100 a day, because that's all you have, that's all you can do right now. There's nothing really else you can do. What you'll do first is you'll hit your followers, and then all your likes, all your comments, all of it. So you'd start here, you go through this, and you start that process, okay? So first you start with followers, comments, likes, all your posts. Then we're gonna go here, because you're gonna run out, right? Because right now you only have 3,100 followers, so that's not gonna work forever. Once you reach out to them, what I wanna do next is we're gonna go through, what do I say? Okay, so first thing you do is you're gonna do a compliment, okay? Hey Ashley, I had to reach out and say, so impressive that you're a WBFF pro.
Thank you.
Like, I know that's kind of, I hope that's not weird to say. What are you gonna say? Oh no,
Thank
that's so
you.
sweet.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so let's say you're a mom with 2 kids. So I reach out, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing you're a WBF pro, hope that's not weird to say. You're like, yeah, appreciate that so much. I'm like, yeah, what do you do for work? Okay. I really like this question. This always opens up the opportunity to start the sales pitch. You're going to see. So you're going to go, oh, I do this. I don't care what you say. I work at Taco Bell. Okay. You'll say whatever. And I go, got it. Does that keep you busy? And what are you going to say?
I'm busy.
Yeah. Have you ever heard anyone say, oh, no, I'm lazy as
You know.
No. They're going to say, I'm busy. So once they say that, you're going to go, totally get it. And again, you acknowledge question, acknowledge question, acknowledge question. Don't ever say long stuff. Just everything like, yeah, get it. Question. Okay? So got it. Does that keep you busy? And they're going to go, yeah, it keeps me busy. Okay? Then you're going to say, this is usually what I'll go with. I'll say, does that make it hard to work out? Now, check this out. This is where we're going to slide in. They don't even know what's happening. This is like the dude. He's like just slid in and he's like, okay. So compliment. Ashley, so cool you're a WBFF pro. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, totally. What do you do for work? Oh, I do this. That's so cool. Does that keep you busy? Yeah, it actually keeps me super busy. Totally get it. I have a similar job. Does that make it hard to work out? And all of a sudden they're usually like, actually, yeah, it kind of does. Now you're in the pitch. You don't even know it, but because you turn the conversation to fitness, now you can actually ask them questions. So they'll say, yeah, it actually does. You go, what's your goal? So again, just write this stuff down. I'm going to show you examples and I'm going to do it for you. Okay? So you go, what's your goal? And they're usually like, oh, my goal's this. Okay? Then you're going to say, what's your struggle? Oh, you know, I've tried 800 diets. None of them work. Cool. What have you tried before? That's number 7. Okay? So all of these that I'm doing, it's with what have you tried? So it's like, what's your goal? What have you struggled with? What have you tried? Okay? Then number 8 is like, have you ever had a coach before? Okay, so I'm gonna say it for you again in case you want to write it. Have you ever had a coach before? And then what will happen is they'll either say no, and it's like, okay, and you just ignore it. Or if they say yes, you're like, was it good or bad, right? So you might say, did you have a coach? And then you're gonna do good or bad, okay? Now, why does that matter? Because they're like, yeah, I had a coach, but he really sucked because he was super restrictive and stuff. And you're like, yeah, that's like so stupid. Like, you're always agreeing with what they're saying. Or they're like, yeah, I had a coach, it was pretty good. That's like, oh, like what, like, do you feel like it didn't work? Because if they're not in shape, it's like, obviously like something didn't work. But they're gonna be like, yeah, X, Y, Z, ABC. And you're like, cool. Well, look, I don't know if you care, but I do this fitness stuff all day long. I have some suggestions for you if you like. We're gonna get them to say yes there. They're like, yeah, for sure. Now here's how you get them on the phone. You're like, yeah, so instead of typing it back, instead of typing 20 million more messages, LOL, like I'll say something like that, like we've been doing. If you got like 10 minutes, I can just explain it to you. Here's my number, what's yours? And you just give them that. And then what happens, sometimes they'll ignore you, but a lot of times they're like, oh yeah, like, here it is. You call them. You're gonna immediately call them. Now, once you get them on the phone, we're pretty much gonna ask the same stuff. Because all we're trying to do is build rapport. Why? They don't know you. Hey, Ashley, what's up? It's Tanner. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so nice to meet you. Yeah, well, cool, look, like I'm not gonna take too much of your time. If you got 10 minutes, I just gotta run through some questions. First off, like, what's your goal? We already asked that, right? Oh, okay, cool, and what are you struggling with? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, what have you tried? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, and have you ever had a coach? Blah, blah, blah. Got it. So Ashley, cool. So look, really appreciate that. That helps me a lot. What I'd like to do from here is I'm gonna send you an email that has more specific questions like your weight, your height, your food preferences, stuff like that. Fill that out, and then once you're done, text me back, and then from there we'll get on another call and I'll walk you through a plan. Sound good? Sounds good. Great. Send the email. I'm gonna show you an example email that I sent years ago. So it works. Perfect.
Done.
What the email is, now do you know what the email's for? Like what do you think the email's for?
To get their information, to get what they like.
Yeah, but what do you think I actually give a shit about on it? Do you think I actually care about the food preferences and stuff, or what do you think I'm trying to do?
I don't know.
I'm trying to pre-qualify you.
Pre-qualify?
Yeah, pre-qualify you. So think about it. On the form, I'm gonna be like, what's your height? What's your weight? What's this? What's that? But then what do I really care about? The money questions? I'm like, hey, so on a scale 1 to 10, I'll show you the email. But it's like on a scale 1 to 10, how serious is this to you? And then I say like, if I could show you a way to eat and train however you want without sabotaging results, how much would that be worth to you? Like I'm qualifying. And if they give me bad answers, guess what I do? I reach out via text. Hey, so some of your questions kind of like, I had some questions and I try to see, because I'm not gonna spend an hour with someone who isn't gonna buy. You'll see on the email, but if they don't give me good questions, I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
If they do, guess what? That's your sales call.
So you just got scheduled, and you're like, great, let's get on a call tomorrow at 8 p.m. And then you close there. And then you just repeat that. Yeah, so all you're doing, right? IG or Facebook, you're DMing. From the DMs, this is the follow-up process. Then from here, you do the 15-minute call. And then from there, you set up the 60. That's all you're gonna do to get to 10,000 a month. Then once you do this, you take that money you got from organic and then you start putting it into ads and then you can grow. So a lot of people are like, Tanner, how'd you make so much money? It's because once I did this, I just blew up my ads and I just got bigger and bigger, and then you just spend $1, make 2, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, I still do it. Okay.
So you do the 15-minute call to get the email, and then the email sets you up for this.
Like the big mistake I made when I started is like I would take calls with everyone, and then I'm like, dude, like this guy's broke, this guy's like 13, like why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because you can't, think about it, if you're spending 3 hours taking sales calls with broke people, that's 60 more messages you could have sent to better look. Let's say I DM'd you and I was like, hey, Ashley, you need help? Oh my gosh, I need so much help. Like, cool, like what are your goals? What are you struggling with? Cool, like what's your financial situation? Like, let's say you're like, hey, it's really bad right now. Well, why would I get you on a sales call to pitch you something if you can't afford it right now?
Right.
Because it's pointless. There has to be a want, and they have to have money. So that's why also typically what I would recommend you do is when you're reaching out to people, look to see if they're 35 to 50. Why? Typically they're more established, less issues, more money, they've been around longer, more established jobs, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, in theory, this is all you're gonna do. Now, a lot of people, sometimes they overcomplicate how hard it is to make money. It's like, it is hard, but it's not hard because the process, it's hard because of the skill or the time, right? So think about it, for you to make 6 sales in a week, you're gonna have to work, I don't know, 40, 50, you're gonna have to work hard.
Right.
You have to do it. Looking good and being a good trainer have nothing to do with making money as a trainer. You could be fat and terrible as a trainer and be super rich, because it's not about that. It's about marketing and sales. So if you have old pictures where you look super good, you just post those on your IG. Everyone thinks you're still in shape and you're not. And then you just get on phone calls and you're good. No one will see you. So there's really 7 parts to a sales call. All right. You have intro. Okay, so intro is kind of what I said. Hey, Ashley, so excited to talk to you today. Thanks for taking time for an hour. Tell me where you live and all that stuff. Oh, I live in blah, blah. Great, awesome. Okay, then you do pre-frame. You're just letting them know what happens on the call. So for example, I always use dating analogies because it's easy. So it's like if a guy comes to you and says, hey, so, I'm gonna pick you up at 6. We're gonna go here, we're gonna go to the movies, and after that, we're gonna go to 11, right, whatever. And you're it's like he's setting the expectations up front, right? Because if something doesn't happen or you don't go with it, he can be like, yo, but I told you this earlier. It's the same thing on a sales call. So what you want to do is you get on a sales call, and typically you're a beginner. So, and you said, don't say you're not good at sales either, because what you say becomes your beliefs, and then your beliefs become your actions. Just you're working on it.
I'm working on it.
So you do a pre-frame because you're a beginner. So what you're going to say, you'll get on the call. Hey, cool. So Tanner, super excited to talk to you today. What I'm gonna do on this call is I'm gonna walk you through what your goal is, what you're struggling with, what you've done in the past, and then at the end of the call, if you feel this is a fit, I'm looking for you to say yes, we'll get you started. If you don't feel it's a fit, you can go ahead and say no, and then that's no problem either. I'm just here to help. Because what will happen is if you're not as experienced with sales, if you say this up front, if they say no at the end, guess what you can do? But you said earlier, you tell me yes or no. Okay, that's why that's powerful. So you wanna pre-frame here. Does that make sense to you?
It does. If they say they can't give an answer, and you say, well, remember in the beginning, do they actually give answers? Do they be okay, yeah, I did say that, so
That just will help you close more deals as a beginner.
Okay.
The more experience you get at sales, or the more sophisticated the buyer. Sophisticated means if you talk to me and you did that, I'd laugh at you. I'd be yo, chill. But a beginner, this works a lot because they don't get a lot of sales calls. So they're not experienced with salesmen, so you can do it. Okay, so the third part is questions or discovery. So let's say I'm contemplating breaking up with my girlfriend, and I ask you for advice. You have to decide, and whatever you decide is what's gonna happen. What kind of questions would you ask me to decide?
Feel?
Okay, so how do I feel? What else?
What makes you feel this way? I would go with what are your gut, what has happened in the past to make you feel that way?
Okay, yeah, that's good. So hopefully the questions you're asking is first off, well, Tanner, why do you want to break up? What's the goal? Do you want to break up with her? Do you not want to break up with her? I kind of, right, you'd be well, what are you guys struggling with? Okay, have you tried therapy? Have you guys, you're trying to gather as much intel. So what I want you to understand is when you're asking these questions, usually there's a script or a framework, but you really just are If you weren't getting paid for it, what would you say? Like, if I'm like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds, and you were just my friend,
Just
what
give
would you
more
say?
information
Yeah,
about
you'd be like, okay, cool. Like, why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Okay, what are you struggling with? Have you tried that before?
Actually, okay, that makes more sense.
You get what I'm
That's
saying?
actually
Like
a real conversation, yeah.
Because what people do is like they're trying to get money and their brain just shuts off.
Right.
What you're really trying to do is you're trying to get info. So typically, you're going to ask, what's the goal? What do you struggle with? What have you tried? Have you ever had a coach? What's a perfect program look like for you? There's a million questions, but the goal is we're trying to find deficiencies, okay? So if you come to me, like think about what you said today. I'm like, okay, Ashley, what's your goal? You're like, I want to make 10,000 a month. Like, cool, what are you making right now? I'm making about 1,500, cool. What's your situation? Hey, I got this is my new full-time thing. I got to make it work, okay? Have you ever had a coach? Never had a coach. Okay, I've seen some of your videos. Okay, cool. What's a perfect program look like for you? You're like, oh, well, if it could do this and this. So you're giving me all the juice I need. So then when I go to my pillars, we're going to cover what pillars are in a second. You're going to sound smart because really what a good salesman does is everything you tell me that you want, I just tell you that's what my program does. And then the perfect program would do this. I'm like, Ashley, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I found you. Like, we do all of those things. You're like, oh, really? Like, yeah, of course, right? That's all you do on sales calls. Now, let's answer another question. We're gonna go to pillars. Now, pillars is where you tell people the top 3 reasons why they should buy your over someone else. So why was I able to do $1 million a year as a trainer by myself when most trainers have to work in a gym 10, 12 hours a day to make $250,000 a year in Miami, like, which is one of the best markets. Like, what do you think the big differences is? Do you think it's like I'm smarter? Do you think I'm like bigger, better looking? Like, what do you think the actual reasons are?
Time. So when you're working with one-on-one and you're spending time with someone,
Right.
it's your time.
Correct.
Where you do online.
That's good. You're right. You're right. No, you're good. You're on the right track. So what does the average trainer say you're gonna get? Let's say I'm fat. And I was like, what do I get if I work with you? What would you say typically?
To lose weight, feel better.
If I pay you this money, what are you gonna give me in return?
Training program.
Okay, what else?
Meal prep.
Okay, what else?
Confidence.
Okay, training plan, meal plan, what else? Is there anything else?
No.
Okay, so you know every trainer in the United States says that, right?
Okay.
Okay, so how are you gonna, you know why you're getting paid $100?
That's why.
And you know why this person gets paid $1,500? Because you're saying the same, and they're like, yeah, but why the fuck would I pay you that? I'll just pay that. Thanks, bye.
Right.
Because every trainer on the planet says the same thing, and that's why they can't close. Because it doesn't matter how good of a trainer you are. If they think that you're selling something for 15 times more than they have to pay, why would they pay it? I wouldn't pay it. So here's what most trainers do, is they talk about training and nutrition. And then what else? Oh, you get accountability.
Accountability.
Oh my gosh, thank
Yes.
God. Okay, so it's so boring.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we gotta do is when you're selling something, okay, it's like the same thing. I use dating all the time because it's just like it's easy. So if you have a boyfriend, you must believe that he's better than all the other guys, because if you don't, why would you date him?
Right.
It's the same thing here. Why am I paying you way more if you do the same thing everyone else does? So we got to get as far away from this as possible, okay? So let's break this down another level. Again, I'm going to try to get you to think. What do most trainers do with a training program? Like, I'm fat, right? You got to train me. So in a week, how many times do I lift? How much do I do cardio?
4 days a week.
Okay.
Lift 4 days and then cardio 4 days.
Okay, so 4 by 4. Okay? For nutrition, what do I get? So I'm fat, you're giving me a nutrition plan. What's in it?
I would give you a meal plan.
Okay.
Or macros.
What do I have to eat?
Whatever, I would ask questions on what they like. And
Okay.
then work
So
with
you
that.
would try to customize as much as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, would you say predominantly most of the food is healthy?
Yes, that
Okay.
I would provide.
All right, so healthy food, okay? And then accountability. So here's the issue. One, you're asking them to work out quite a bit. So I'm fat, I don't work out, and now you're saying 4 times a week. I'm like,
Okay.
4 times a week?
Yeah.
Then I get a nutrition plan, you're like, oh, you took all my Snickers out. Okay, and then accountability, it's like, oh, like, but John at the gym gives me accountability. Yeah. So all of a sudden, when you're like, hey, it's 1,500, it's like, oh, this is stupid. We have to get as far away from this as possible. I'm the fat client. What do I want? So what, in a perfect world, what does the fat client actually want?
To lose weight with no effort.
Perfect. So guess what we're gonna give him? No effort. Okay? He wants no training, he wants no diet, and he wants just to sit on his ass and get in shape. Okay, so he wants no effort. He wants an easy fast. He wants to wake up and he's got a 6-pack. Is it possible to lose weight without training? Is it possible to eat food if you stay under your caloric expenditure? And case, yes. And then accountability, whatever. That no one cares. Okay. So here's what I pitch people on. Okay? Here's how I went 0 to $1 million in 12 months. Okay? So I said how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging, and we're gonna go through this, okay? I just want you to follow me. Results. Then I said the same thing for training. So I said how to train however you want without sabotaging results. And then the last one is I said, it was just a fancy word. It was called lifestyle recalibration, and I'm gonna walk you through this, okay? Now remember, whatever they tell me in the data, I wanna say the exact opposite. Okay, so we already know when they get on the call, guess what they're gonna want? Oh, it was too hard. Oh, my coach was so mean. I had to do car. So we already know what they want. You just told me. So guess what we got to do? We're going to give it to them. So here's what we're going to say. All right, so pillar number 1. Now, when you do this, I get through the discovery, and then here's my transition. I just say, hey, Ashley, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through the 3 pillars. Now, the 3 pillars are the top 3 reasons why people pick me over every other trainer in the United States, something like that. Like, again, why do people work with me? First thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna teach you, pillar number 1 is how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging results. Now we have to compare. Okay, here's what a lot of dumb trainers do. They're gonna list, you're gonna get a nutrition plan, you're gonna get this, you're gonna get this. No one buys that, they don't care. So it's the same thing here. So we're not gonna sell features and benefits, we're gonna draw comparisons. So here's what we do. Bad guys, here's what they do. Okay, everyone else besides you is a bad guy. Okay, you're good. You're Superman, right? Good. So check this out. First pillar, Ashley, is I'm gonna teach you how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging results. Now, here's a compare and contrast. You would say this on a call. What most people do, bad guys, is they're gonna give you chicken, rice, and broccoli. Now, Ashley, we both know if you eat that, you're gonna lose weight, right? Right. Because you're in a restriction, that's fine. But what's the issue? Is when your birthday comes up, Hanukkah, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, you're gonna do what? Well, I'm gonna eat bad food, right? So if you're not gonna have a chicken, broccoli, and rice birthday cake, then the question is not eating healthy food. We already know you can lose weight eating healthy. The reason you're not where you wanna be is because you don't know how to eat bad food and still look good. So what we're gonna teach you in our program is how to eat birthday cake, ice cream, donuts, drink beer, alcohol, etc., and still look amazing. Does that sound better to you, or do you want to eat the chicken, broccoli, and rice forever?
They're gonna want to have fun.
Yeah, so they're like, what do you think? Yeah. That's possible? It's like, yeah. And how is that ethically possible? Macros. Yeah. Holy shit, it's not that crazy. But no trainer says this. Guess what they say? Oh yeah, we're gonna put you on that restrictive diet plan. It's gonna be sick, dude. You're gonna love it. And what does the guy say? It's like, this. So then we're gonna go to number 2. And then I'm just like, do you have any questions? And they might be like, well, how is that possible? You don't tell them exactly. You're just like, look, I'm gonna teach you how to eat whatever you want as long as you stay within certain guidelines and principles, right? Because obviously if you have 12 birthday cakes, you'll gain weight, but you can still have cake and ice cream and beers. You just have to stay within certain guidelines and principles, and everything I'm gonna teach you is scientific. Okay. It is. Did I lie? No. Nothing I said is a lie. But trainers are like, I don't wanna say that. I'm like, okay, well then say poor. So number 2, Ashley, is how to train however you want without sabotaging results. Now, Ashley, what do most trainers do? Ashley's really mean. She's gonna put you on a 4x4. You're gonna start doing 4 days of cardio and workouts. But the problem is probably at some point in your life, you're gonna travel, you're gonna have kids, you're gonna get busy, and you're gonna fall off, and then you're just gonna gain the weight back, right? You know why, Ashley, you know what P90X is? Yeah, I do. Why do people fall off that? Well, it's probably too hard, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna teach you how to train however you want without sabotaging results. So Ashley, guess what? Do you know how do you get most results in fitness? It's not a trick question. How do you get results in fitness? What's the most important thing?
You gotta burn more calories. So
Ashley, guess what? 90% of your results come from nutrition. So you know what that means? You could sit on the couch every day the rest of your life, and if you follow a nutrition plan, you'll still lose weight. Now, is that the healthiest thing to do? No. But if you don't wanna work out, there's no point in making you because you're not gonna stick with that anyways, are you? So what we have to do is figure out the least amount of times possible for you to work out to hit your goal. So number 2 is teaching you how to train however you want without sabotaging results. You can work out 0 days, 1 day, 2, I don't care. As long as you follow that nutrition plan and stay within those principles I teach you, you can eat whatever you want, you can train however you want. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Oh my God, Tanner, where have you been my whole life? Oh dude, I'm right here. So guess what I do now? Go to the 3rd one. Okay, so actually pillar number 3 is what I call lifestyle recalibration. So now that you know how to eat, and now that you know how to train, the last thing is what? You gotta decide who to hire. Think about it. If I'm trying to get in shape, there's 3 types of programs I can buy.
Trainer.
P90X, so like a course type thing,
Okay.
trainer, or online trainer.
Okay.
That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
What sounds better? Hey guys, click below to get your customized nutrition plan. Or, hey guys, click below to learn how to eat whatever you want without sabotaging results. That's marketing. That's all it is. It sounds sexier. It drives curiosity. If it makes people think, they want it. So if I said, how to lose 30 pounds eating only butter, people are like, no way, right? But if you're like, how to lose 30 pounds eating chicken? It's like,
Yeah.
no one's gonna do it. I call it lifestyle recalibration. Why? Because it sounds better than who should I hire? It just sounds sexier, right? Again, like that's just marketing, you'll learn that, but it just sounds nicer, okay? Now remember, what is the goal? Bad guy, ooh, P90X, bad guy. In person, bad guy. Me, good guy. That's all you wanna do constantly. You are the only solution to their salvation, and that's how it needs to be on the call. If they think they have any other option, they're not gonna pay you $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, whatever. Okay, so now what are your options? So the first option is P90X. Now actually look, what's great about P90X? It's cheap. Yeah, I love cheap stuff. We all like cheap stuff, right? But the problem is that they give the same program to everyone in America. So let me ask you a question. If John is 300 pounds and Ariel is 100 and they get the same program, does that make sense? So we don't wanna do P90X, not because it's cheap. It's just not the solution.
It's not gonna.
And they're like, oh my God, right? So again, bad, okay? In person, same thing. So actually your next option is you can get an in-person trainer. Now the issue with the in-person trainers, I love them, they're great people, but they're focusing on your training. Well, do you remember earlier in the call when we talked about how you get results? Well, 90% of your results come from what?
Nutrition.
Nutrition. So why would I pay a trainer to teach me how to train, which is only 10% of my results, and they don't want to actually teach me what's happening because if I fire them, they lose their money. And then the final option is me. So not only am I going to teach you how to eat whatever you want and train however you want, but I'm going to show you everything I know. So at the end of the program, you're going to have a 4-year degree essentially in training and nutrition. So when you're done with me, you'll never have to hire another trainer again. That is so key to say because then they'll pay you more. And don't get me wrong, my clients will still re-sign with me, but it's not because they have to, it's because they want to. Does that make sense? And now you have positioned yourself as the alpha, the apex of trainers, just by positioning yourself, by giving them what they want, and then all the other options as bad. But if you got on the call and you're like, oh yeah, like I'll do a custom nutrition plan and a custom training plan, I'll give you accountability, it's $1,500. They're like, everyone says that. That's why trainers are poor, because they don't understand that it has nothing to do with how good of a trainer you are. It has everything to do with sales and marketing.
How you sell it, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, what if I got on a call with you, was like, all right, Ashley, so, you know, I'm a business coach and pretty much every program is about the same. And like, we're gonna do pretty much what everyone else does. And mine is 16,000. Like, what do you say? You'd be like, well, is there a cheaper one? You're like, well, yeah, they do the same thing. It's cheaper. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll just do that.
Right.
That's what trainers do. And they're like, Tanner, I don't get it. So step number 5 is a brief program overview. Nobody cares about features and benefits. I'll prove it to you. If I could guarantee that you made 10 grand, would you care if we communicated by email, text, phone call, pigeons, hot air balloons, or would you just want the result, right?
Yes, don't care.
They don't give a shit either. So this part is just very brief. You're just like, look, and just to be clear of what you get, you're gonna get unlimited access to me, you're gonna get training, nutrition, etc. And any questions you have, you let me know, and I'm gonna be with you the whole way through the program. Cool? That's it. That's all you're gonna say. It's about the result. It's not about what you get, okay? Same thing for me. If I want a 6-pack, I just want a 6-pack. If it meant I had to eat Twinkies every day, I'd eat Twinkies every day. But that's not how it works. Let's go to the gym, but I don't care, all right? So now we go to the sales. Now, for anyone who's listening, if this is like on YouTube, if I'm advanced, I'm not gonna do it this same way. Okay, but for beginners, this is good because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to maximize your chances of closing the sale. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go, cool. So is there any questions? Does everything make sense? Yeah, everything makes sense, great. So the next thing to do is we're gonna get into price. And it's normally $5,800, but as long as you can put down a deposit today, I'll drop the price to $3,000. All I ask is that you do 2 things. 1, you work really hard in the program. 2, you don't tell anyone that I gave you a discount. Sound fair enough? And what you're doing is you're price anchoring. It's called a price anchor. And you're like, it's usually up here, but I'm gonna give you down here, but you gotta move forward today. Okay, now that is not a sophisticated sales move, but because you're a beginner and you're novice and you're gonna probably get nervous and you'll be like, oh my God, it helps you get the sale more often than not. The objections, there's 4 objections, okay? Price, spouse, okay? Time, I gotta think about it, Tanner. Belief, that's it. There's no other objection. You will never get any other objection, that's it. Here's how you handle price. Ashley, the price of the program is $12 million. I don't give a shit what they say, it doesn't matter. Oh, Tanner, that's too much. I just don't have 12 million. I totally get it, Ashley, no problem. Before I move into anything else, is there anything besides the price that would stop you from moving forward today? You always isolate objections. What does isolate mean? You push it into a corner and you do not let them out. That's called a tie down. Just price. Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna tie that down twice because I want this to be really strong. So I'm gonna got it. So if we're able to figure out the price today, then you're willing to move forward. Yes. Okay. Now, what do rookie salesmen do?
Probably like Price is Right.
Oh my God. Okay. So you can't do 12 million. What about 11? What about 10? What about 9? What about 8? What about 7? What about 6? And the person's like, dude, you are so desperate. Ashley, great. I'm glad to hear that. So I can best help you. What's your cash on hand look like? Credit cards, bank accounts, savings, crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. I don't know, Tanner. Oh, Ashley, of course you do. Like, how much do you make in a month typically? I want a number. I'm gonna stay here until they give me a number. If they don't give you a number, you're like, yo, I cannot help you unless you give me a number. You get the number. You have to, okay? So let's do two scenarios. Let's say they say 3,000. Let's say they say $100. Let's say your program was 5,000. They had 3,000. Cool. So let's go ahead and put that down. We'll do the rest on the payment plan. Sound good? That's all you have to do. If they still say no, then what's the issue? Belief. We'll get to belief last. Belief is like, I'm scared. Okay, this is all belief means is I'm scared.
Yes.
Okay? Right? So if I got on a call with you and you had the money, but you didn't want to move forward, it's because you're scared. You don't know if it will work. Okay? So let's say they say I have $100. Okay? Well, then I'm like, okay, so Tanner, you literally only have Ashley, you only have $100? You're like, yeah, that's like literally all I have. So now you have 2 options. Either A, you take what they got and do a payment plan, and you should have a number that you're like, I'm not going below this. I would recommend for you don't go below $200, period. Or you're like, well, Ashley, the lowest I can go is $200. You only have 100. Are you able to make that work? And you're like, Tanner, I really can't. That's all I have. I'm like, okay, no worries. Like, so let's go ahead and wrap the call up. When you get in a better financial position, reach out and you end the call. That's it. Okay. But what people do is on sales calls, they sound like idiots because they're like, oh, but what about, okay, well, what if we do this? What if we do this? What if we do this? And they're like, dude, like, I don't want to work with you now because they sound desperate. But when you ask for cash on hand, okay, now you sound intelligent. So remember, think of it as like, if it was your friend, what would you say?
Okay.
That's what a friend would do. They'd ask how much money you have. They wouldn't be like, well, what about?
No, that's
Don't
true.
do that.
Actually.
Okay, so that's price. Most common objection, easiest one to beat. Because all you have to do is this. Close, object, agree, isolate, tie down, double tie down, cash on hand.
Like the question does that usually happen a lot? Like, do you think they're lying sometimes when they give a lower number? Because like.
I mean, I just use common sense. I don't let anyone lie to me. If I think they're lying, I call them out in a nice way.
Yes.
All right, spouse. Hey, Ashley, you want to do it? It's $5,000. Oh, I can't. I have to talk to my crazy husband. Oh, okay, no worries. I'm gonna have A, B, and C. So if A doesn't work, you go to B. If B doesn't work, you go to C, okay? So, Tanner, I can't do it. I have a crazy husband. Okay, Ashley, totally get it. What are you gonna do if he says no? Okay? If you say, well, I'm gonna do it anyways, I'm like, cool. If you're gonna do it anyways, let's just go ahead and sign you up. Sometimes they say that, it's wild, it's weird. Or they're saying, well, I wouldn't do it, okay? So if they say no, you go to B. Well, I wouldn't do it. Okay. Well, what do you think they would think? Whatever they say is what they think. So he goes, well, he thinks it would be expensive. So guess what? Oh, so it's a price issue. Oh, cool, let's figure that out. Well, he thinks he would need to think about it. Oh, he would need to think about it. Guess what? They need to think about it. Oh, well, he wouldn't know if it would work. So this question helps because what you do is you say, what would your spouse think? But whatever they think their spouse would think is what they're thinking. Okay. Obviously, right? Hey, Tanner, my husband, well, I'm gonna have to talk to my husband. Okay, no worries. What are you gonna do if he says no? Well, I probably wouldn't do it. Okay. Well, what do you think he would think? Oh, well, he probably thinks it's too expensive. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to move back over here and I'm going to handle price. Now, if they still say, yeah, like Tanner, if they still say no after this, they're like, yeah, but Tanner, I still really need to talk to him. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what's called an identity play. If the roles were reversed and your husband needed to lose weight, would you support him?
Of course.
Okay, and would you say like your husband loves you and like, you know, wants what's best for you and wants you to be happy?
Absolutely.
Okay, so why do you think your husband wouldn't support you losing weight if you would support him in the same fashion? Because the thing is if you don't do this, you're gonna end up resenting your husband 2 years down the road. So what I need you to do is I need you to make sure that after you sign up, you go tell your husband that you're not doing this for him, you're doing this for you, and if you don't do it for you, you're gonna resent him. And so you're not asking him for permission, you're just asking for his support. Does that sound fair enough? Now, if they still say no to all of that, it can happen. There's a few variables on sales calls, you're gonna need to take a few. I do what's called a delayed payment. So this is like the hardest, it's not the hardest, it's just like, if someone keeps saying no, this is like your last ditch effort. So it's like, well, Tanner, I gotta talk to my husband. Well, what would you do if he said no? Well, I wouldn't do it. Well, what would he think? He thinks it'd be too pricey. Okay, cool, let's figure it out. Well, Tanner, no, seriously, I really do need to talk to him. Okay, well, would he support you and does he love you and does he want what's best for you? Yeah, so why wouldn't he support you in doing this? You just gotta go tell him that you're doing this for you, etc. Tanner, I really can't do it. All right. Ashley, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and do this. You wanna do it, right? You just wanna talk to your husband? Yeah, okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and have you put down a payment. And then if you go talk to your husband and he doesn't want you to be happier, he doesn't want you to be healthier, he doesn't want you to be sexier, he just wants you to take your fingers and rub them all over yourself after you put them in a bag of chips. If he says all that, then I'll just refund you and we'll rip up the agreement. Sound fair enough? And that's your last ditch effort. If they still say no, call's over. All right, time. What most people say, sales guys, is they'll usually say, got it, well, what do you need to think about? All right, that's what they usually say. That's fine. What I like to usually say is like, you go, well, Tanner, I just need to think about it. I'm like, cool, no worries. Actually, let me ask you a question. Do you know what deciding means? No. So in Latin, it actually means to cut off. Because still not making a decision is making a decision. And we just have to decide which identity are you gonna step into? Because you can't have both. And I can tell you that there's only 3 questions I need to ask you. And if you can answer these 3 questions, you're ready to sign up. You ready for those?
Let's go.
Okay, question number 1. Are you more likely to hit your goal working with us?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Question number 2 is, do you think that we'll deliver what we promised?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then the last one is, do you have money or do you have access to funds from someone else?
I do.
Okay, awesome. So here's the thing. It doesn't take more time to make decisions. It takes information. And based off the information you just gave me, you're actually ready to make the decision. So are you ready to move forward? Like something like that. Now, they could still say no. Now remember, when you're doing these objections at any time, you could beat it and they're like, yeah, but I still don't know. That's belief. That's belief, okay? Now my go-to for belief, again, there's a million ways to handle it. What I'm trying to teach you is frameworks. I'm not trying to teach you to memorize shit. But this is like for beginners, I'm usually like, hey, if you're a beginner, follow this, okay? If you're a spouse, follow this. This is what I do. It's just, it comes naturally for me because I've done so many calls, okay? Now belief is like, they're scared. So if I came to you and I tried to pitch you something, you're like, Tanner, I just don't know. I don't know. I'm like, okay. Well, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? That's a great question. And what are they usually going to say to that?
Fail, don't get the result.
Well, what if it doesn't work? So what we're going to do is we're going to say, well, I'm glad you brought that up, Ashley, because the thing is, nothing bad can happen. Here's the first thing. You could actually get the result. That's what you want, right? Okay. The second thing, you do it and it doesn't work and you get a money back guarantee refund or whatever. Like it depends on your program, but let's say you're like, hey, money back. I wouldn't do that, by the way. But let's say it's like a conditional guarantee. It's like if they show that they do they talk to you once a week, they send you meal plans or whatever, then that's what conditional means. So it'd be like if you sign up in my coaching program, I'm like, Ashley, we'll give you a full refund if you do all these things. If you don't do all those things, that means because if you don't do it, you're not going to get results. If you don't get results, like I'm not going to if you don't do the work, I'm not going to refund you because does that make sense?
So I feel like when they say they want a refund, and they're saying I'm doing all these things, and they're not doing these things. That's
why conditional guarantees are nice because you do stuff that for a fact if they don't do, they won't get results. So you pick stuff on purpose. So like for example, if I did a conditional guarantee with you, I'd say, all right, you have to prove to me you send 100 messages a day for 4 months.
Okay.
And I would literally make you prove it.
Like screenshots
So,
and stuff.
right. Again, it's like, I'm scared. It's like, cool, what's the worst thing that could happen? They're like, well, it doesn't work. And then this is how I usually address it. So typically programs will have some refund guarantee. In my fitness program, I didn't. So I wouldn't use that here. I would be like, well, you could do it and get the result and life's great. Or you cannot do it and you definitely don't get a result. Like I might just say that. So then they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, so let's go ahead and move forward. Okay? So there's a lot more sales training I can do. I'll have Ivan give you access to like our group calls. Like I'll have him just send you the group call link and the times. But
Thank you.
that's all you're gonna get. Okay, so price, spouse, time, belief. You just drill that, you'll close all the deals. And the ones you don't close, they're just not gonna close. Like they're just gonna say no. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go through your followers. And I'm looking for out of shape girls. I'm not looking for out of shape guys. So let's just say, I just wanna show you one example. So the first thing is you're gonna go down all 3,100 people. You wanna go as fast as you can too, because remember, we're trying to do 20 messages an hour. So if you're taking too long, you're gonna get behind. But again, I just wanna show you examples. So we're gonna go down here. Let's take her. So this is someone who like, in my opinion, if you look, she might think she doesn't need help, but to me, it's like, okay, this is someone who like probably could lose weight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna message her and say, hey, just wanted to say, oh my gosh, I can't type on Androids. Thank you so much for following. What's the fitness goals you're working on? That's pretty much it. Send. And then you move on to the next person. So you would do that on all your followers list and all your comments, all your likes. So I'm not like this dude, and I would go down this whole thing and just slam it. Now, don't send more than 20 to 30 messages an hour or you're gonna get blocked. So again, 100 messages a day should take you about 5 hours. The other time, what are you doing? You're responding, you're setting up calls, you're taking calls, okay? Eventually, you're gonna run out of your followers and you're gonna run out of your likes and comments. So now we gotta do what's called a cold DM. So remember what I taught you earlier? We're gonna go to hashtags. Now, let's say we type in fit mom. You already did that, tags. The difference here is we have to connect. I don't care about the fit women. You're gonna skip by them. We're looking for someone who's overweight, who needs help. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna scroll until we see someone who looks overweight. Okay, boom, click. So I'm gonna go here. Now, I checked the profile quickly. She says, helping women redefine themselves through strength. Okay, so she's a fitness coach. I'm not gonna reach out to someone who thinks she's a fitness coach. It makes literally no sense. And the goal is like one message every 2 minutes in a perfect world. So I'm scrolling. Okay, let's go here. That was perfect, boom. Okay, come here. First weight loss, 100 pounds. Okay, so this could be a perfect person. I'd say something like, let's look to see if we can connect on some level. So let's say, okay, she got a little baby. So what I would say is I go, hope it's not to say, but had to tell you. So I'd be like, but had to tell you how cute your little baby is. And then you'd be like, LOL. You'd be like, adorable. Okay, now you send that and you move on. Okay, so now you have to wait to see if she responds. I go right back to the drawing board. Okay, there's one lead. Let's go back. Let's find some more leads. Okay, so keep looking. Let's go here. Judging makeup hours. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna say, love your. So here I'd be like, love the fitness journey. I find it very inspiring. Again, we just gotta relate. It doesn't matter what we're saying. We're just trying to get a response. Okay, boom. Next. Okay, go to the next one. So again, like we've already got 2 messages down. Oh my God, there's no leads, Tanner. It's like we're creating leads out of thin air. Like and you send 100, 30 of them will respond. So we got 2 down, got 98 to go. Okay, let's go here. Start your day off with Jesus, live the world, be bold, courageous, do your best. Okay, so you'd be like, so I do the same thing. I always go for the kids. I always say a kid comment. It's like, oh my gosh, kids are so cute.
I think that's like an easy way to get in. It's like they're being nice about their kids.
Yep.
Obviously.
Yeah, and then they're like, it's a compliment, right?
Yeah.
So remember when we started, it's a compliment, okay? So you're literally just gonna repeat that, and there's millions and millions and millions. That's all you're gonna do. Then what you're gonna do is I'll send you that other video, and it's gonna show you how to respond. Once they respond, you remember what we went through?
Yeah.
So it's like compliment, what do you do for work? And then it's like, does it keep you busy? And then you're like, oh, does that help you does that make it hard to hit your fitness goals? And you go through that and you set the call. Then from that set call, you're gonna send an email. So after the set call, remember I told you about that email?
Right.
So check this out. So I'm gonna pull up the email from a guy. This is one of my first clients. You're gonna see the actual timestamp, 2017. Appreciated the talk. Remember set call. Thanks for scheduling with me. Sustainability is a very common problem, so I know I can definitely help you out. Obviously, everyone says that. The reason I do this process now is because I only train up to 15 to 20 clients at a time tops. Okay, scarcity. I found this way I can be more involved, build deeper relationships, and make lasting changes. If I'm not changing people's lives for the better, then I'm wasting my time. My takeaway from our talk is you just need someone who actually teaches you what to do. If we were to work together, I'd make sure I'm the last person you pay for any fitness help. That's such a big selling point. Okay, so you want to make sure that they feel confident that you're the last thing they need. I get tired of how this industry operates and takes advantage of people. You just need to be taught so you can stop wasting so much money. I can absolutely help you and relate to you. I used to have the exact same problems when I was learning how to train and eat. My goal is to take on clients who are extremely motivated and want to change and get to their goal. If you're only kind of interested, then we wouldn't work well together. I've left some questions below for you to answer. Just be as honest as you can. Based on your responses, I'll then schedule another call if I feel we'd be a good fit. If not, I'll kindly let you know and give you advice on how to proceed or send you to someone else. Okay, so like you're doing this to set the stage for the sales call. Now, someone might reply back and be like, oh, I didn't know that you were trying to sell me something. It's like, all right, whatever. But most people, once you do the set call, they know what's up. Like they know. So then look at what I ask. Age, I don't care. I'm just sprinkling these in. Weight, don't care. Body fat, don't care. Food you eat, don't care. Food you hate, don't care. How many days a week, don't care. How many times, don't care. Are you willing to lift weights, don't care. What changes do you want to see, don't care. Here's what I care about. My programs are about teaching, not just ordering you around. I tell clients it's a one-time investment. After the program, you should never need another coach or program again because I'll teach you every last trick in the book. With that being said, are you willing to invest financially and mentally to reach your goals? I know you said money is tight. All I want to know is if I can make it work for you financially, that you can meet me halfway and work it out. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being satisfied where you are, 10 is you'll do anything. What number are you? This answer is very important. Wink, wink. What would you expect from me as your coach? That's it. He says, yes. Done. Scale of 1 to 10. Okay? And then he goes, I'm sure you're looking for a 10, being honest. Now, I don't use this question as much now because they're like, well, 10, like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm like, dude, like, I'm not talking about like pillaging and plundering. Like, I'm talking like, you know, like, give me some effort. And they're like, oh, yeah. So, like, just be careful with that.
Okay.
But you got that, and then honestly, he's ready to go. So then guess what I do? You're good to go. Now, what do I do if they give me a bad answer here? Or a bad answer here? What do you think I do?
Just kind of email them, send them on the way.
I send them a text, and I'm like, hey, because at this point we're messaging. Hey, so I saw your questionnaire. I just wanted to clarify a few questions. You said you wouldn't invest, and you also said you were a 6. Like, why is that? Because then guess what happens? I either clarify and get the answer and then book a call, or guess what? I'm not going to take a call because they're not going to close. And that is A to Z, all you got to do to hit $10,000 a month. And I was doing $50,000 a month, so you can hit $10,000 a month, and then from there you scale up your company. That's like, this is literally the whole process. You want to start here because it's safer. It helps you build up skills. Like if I started running ads for you, right now, and you would get so frustrated and you'd lose money. And that's what most people do in business. They're like, oh, I fucking spent, like Shark Tank. I'm like, oh my God, they've mortgaged their house for this protein shake. Like, it's crazy. I don't know what your situation is, but I would recommend you lower your expenses as much as humanly possible while you're doing this, because then you can take more risk.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Have you ever like, after, I mean, I guess like you get the sales call, and then do you ever have people like halfway through that are not, or that sign up for the program and like just unsatisfied?
It's inevitable. Someone will be, yeah. But it's usually like 2 or 3% of your clients. But
I want to say it's like mostly if they won't do like the work kind of.
But that's also what's nice with high prices, because you're used to getting $100. So if you charge someone $1,500, they're automatically going to be a better client. Typically. Because
they're going to do
the worst clients pay the least.
I like that.
Check WhatsApp too.
I want to grow where I don't want to be so involved. Like I want to get.
Yeah, so you will, but you got to push initially to because you got to push, and you have to have enough profit to hire people. So that's the other thing is like it's a lot easier if you make like $20,000 a month off 6 sales to hire people. Then you're like, okay, this month I got to make $30,100 sales. Yeah. But yeah, like it's one step at a time. So what I focus on first is the inputs. All you can control are the inputs. What are the inputs you can control? How many messages you send a day? How many calls you set, and how many set calls you get, and how many sales calls. That's your effort. Even if you suck, like the best part about it is like you'll keep building your skills. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
The big thing for you is like, you come off to me like you get worried or you're like scared or
Absolutely.
whatever. But the thing
And I think people can also pick up on that.
But it doesn't matter though, because you have nothing to lose. It's
Exactly.
it's just illogical fear. It's like, it doesn't make any sense because you're saying you're scared to reach out to people, but it's like, you're never going to talk to these people again. When I did door-to-door sales, I felt the same way when I started. And then after, I was like, it's like, I'd have people who are rude to me and I would just be like, God bless you. And I just walk away. So think of it this way. If you suck at this, are you willing to do the reps to get good? Because just like you built your body and got your pro card, you didn't start and one day you're like, oh, pro.
Absolutely
you
not.
built up.
Right.
So you just have to think of this in the same manner. All I want you to focus on is, remember, if you send, I promise you, if you send 100 messages a day for 90 days, every day, there's no way that you won't succeed. There's no way. Because like at that point, it'll just be, it's a numbers game.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I know it does make sense. And one of the things that I wanted to come here and get out of was hope, and you really did give that. I feel like there's just things that obviously I'm missing. Like I said, my background's been in accounting, and the sales is something that's also like, but I feel like I really think I have like potential, obviously, to get places, and I'm just trying to figure out how to use these things.
You do. So all you have to do is like, I walked you through that whole process. That's how I was doing $50,000 a month without ads. And that's also why I gave you those numbers, because if you send 100 messages and you get 30 responses and you're not booking at least 6 15-minute calls, then you know that you're saying weird. Right? Because like, what's frustrating and what gets depressing is when you don't know. Right? It's like people get hopeless and then that's when they get depressed, but you should have hope because you know what the numbers are.
I guess not taking it away from like, so I've watched some of your other videos, and like, what are your thoughts? Should I like just focus on just the sales call, getting them, hooking them, and building out a program? I also saw some of your stuff where you're like giving out like welcome gifts and stuff. Should I do any of that?
None of that to start. No.
Okay.
That's down the road. So you don't want to look at what I'm doing. Look at what I did.
Okay.
So when I was in your shoes, no content, no YouTube, no personal gifts. I just like, my first client, they got Excel sheets. Excel sheets. They're paying for result. They're not paying for time. They're not paying for a nice pamphlet. Now later down the road, sure, but when you start, all you got to do is just get the MVP, minimal viable product. What's the biggest driver to close money? Sales calls. How do I get more sales calls? Messages. So should you be doing anything besides that if you're trying to make money as fast as you can? If you had a gun to your head 30 days, would you do anything besides send a message and a sales call?
Like
no.
if I need the money, is that what you said?
No, but yeah, that you wouldn't do anything else. You don't want to fail, and you shouldn't. And like, you won't fail if you do the input. For you to get out of your situation, that's the only way out. When I was in your shoes and I hadn't made a sell yet, I was like, you know what? I don't know if this is possible, but this is the only way out of my situation, so I better make it work. So like in business, you have to be more assertive to make it happen, because no one's going to make it happen for you.
Agreed.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I feel like there's so much there that I have. I just need to kind of like channel it. And the sales call and like everything you're saying, like being more confident in it, I really think I
and it will happen too. Just understand, like, you haven't done it before. It's okay to be scared, but that doesn't mean it's okay not to take action.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm getting like everything's clicking.
You'll crush it.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited.
Like, and the other thing is, be around people, find a group. That's also why some people get in coaching, because if you find a group of like-minded people, it helps because they're going the same direction as you. So if you have friends who don't help you, or they don't encourage you, or they put you down, you need to get rid of them. Right. And you need to be, because I'm telling you, it's like, part of what's helped me is like, I'm always around people who want to be high achievers.
No, that works. Yeah? Yeah, you feed off each other and you enjoy it. I like that.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel more directed. I think, like I said, one of the things I wanted to do is come out with hope and a plan, and I just see all these avenues to go down, and I mean, he literally just spelled it out for you. So I'm really excited, and I know exactly what I need to do and where to go and take it from there. I'm blown away and excited and happy. I suggest the person that comes here next, just be very open-minded and go with it. Follow your passion, because you're here for a reason, and do what makes you happy and listen to everything, all the information, and just go with it.